Welcome back to the York Woods. My name is Dan York. Today I got a score. I got a piece of call lumber. That's a 2x12x12. And if you don't know what call lumber is, it is lumber that the lumber yards can't sell for full price. It's something that might have a blemish in it. It may have a wave, a curve, twist. Doesn't matter to me because today I'm going to be making an American flag out of it. It's a draped American flag made out of wood. You can kind of see one over my shoulder here. That one was an arrow on my side, so I got to keep it in my barn. The one over here is going to be my model. So whenever I'm cutting this out, I really don't use measurements. I kind of just make sure everything's proportionate to what it looks like and kind of what I'm looking at here, and I kind of go with the flow. So stay with me. We're going to show you what I do here. So first things first, I'm going to take this, and flags aren't exactly 4 feet long, but this being a 2x12, I am going to make this first cut at 4 feet. Square this up and make my cut. So now that I've got my board cut, I've got it standing up here on my jaw horse, got my pencil sharp, I'm going to kind of loosely just sketch what I see behind me here. Then I'll go back through afterwards and use a marker to define the lines that I really want to truly cut. Now this line here will go all the way down through the union, all the way down to the edge. Over here is the rest of my union, so this here will be my union. This drops down a little bit further past the other fold. And then when I do my stripes, they're going to have a little bit here, another one here, another one here, and I will end up using a router for this more than likely. So this side comes in at a little bit of a different angle following this angle here, so we're going to come in there. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 roughly visible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's a little baby one down here, almost like a Bob Ross Happy Bush. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to the bottom. I'm not going to get anywhere near that, but we're going to come back in at roughly the same angle. And when I do the final cut on these, I will straighten them back up. And I'll make sure that the stripes are all the same width. And I've seen some other guys do these, and when you get to the bottom, they kind of fold some stuff around. I don't think that looks quite right, because if you look at the way a flag truly drapes, it doesn't do that. Now, I will point this at the end, just putting my last pieces in. Come around, and if I look at the very bottom of the flag, so if I look down there, I've got to put a point in. So let's put a point in the bottom here. Roughly at about a angle about like that, meet at the point in the middle. We're going to come up here and all right, so with the marker, come back in, that's gone, come back in this way, bring this angle in, and this is going to be a solid line, like I said earlier, all the way down to the edge. Union line. It's actually going to come about up there, that one in there, and that one in there. So this is white, red, white, red, white, red, white. Now there is a notch that comes back in to the fold here. Bring that in and back out to where it starts to come back into the bottom. Bring the bottom back up, And then we'll come back in from this side, make these meet, come back through here. And this is going to be blue. Like my stripes here. So as you see on the flag over here, this first little one is red. And that's the basic layout of what the flag is. Now on these, this is kind of roughly what I did with the small marker. Do get out a bigger marker to make my final lines, but this gives me a good visual of what the end product will end up being. And when I set up this first, I start from the union down. And when I do put this one in, I do use a hard line. And I will make it roughly about 30 degrees is what it ends up being. In fact, that is what I'm using is 30 degrees out to the main line that goes down. And I'll come around over here to the other side and do roughly a similar angle. I'm actually going to do this one at a 45. And then just trace my line coming down. I think at that point looks good as being sharp. This one looks good as being kind of like it's folded over. Again, this is waist. We're going to continue this side at a 45, and for spacing wise, I'm going to use something about, well, you know what it looks like. And I don't usually do this big, thick marker when I do them myself. I just kind of eyeball it. But for the point of this video, that way you can see what is being removed and what's being done. Now, this is one line that I don't use a hard line on because I want it to be more free. So if it does kind of swoop around a little bit, that's not a bad thing. Just because the straight lines on a flag don't actually do that as well. So coming down here, this area here will also be removed. And again, these lines don't have to be perfect, but it sure helps whenever they're somewhat straight. And as you're seeing here, they more than likely won't match up. I got a little wild. They won't actually truly line up against this side of the stripes because they don't on the real flag either. If you hang around to the end, you'll see the final product. It doesn't really matter how close these are. And as you can see, what the union and the stripes will look like. A couple small pieces ended up getting cut out, as well as these spots right there. Yeah, I got my router set up, and I'm just going to put some safety gear on it and follow the lines. All right, so we have on the hearing protection, eye protection. Let's get to work. So I don't have to route these because these are going to be cut with a circular saw. So when I get down here to the bottom, I can't come in from the outside, so I'm probably going to go ahead and route this out just so I have a place to put my router in before I drag the bit across. So I'm going to start by clamping this to where I can run my circular saw down and cut those angles there. So this is the basic shape of the union. So as you can see, that's the basic shape of our flag. I'm going to start with this one. It's pretty worn out. This is just a sanding pad. I believe it's about a 60 grit on an angle grinder. Let's see if it works. Now, when I do sand this side, I sand it a little bit more of an angle. So on the finished product, it gives it a little bit of a shadow line, like it looks like it's going underneath of this side. For this next part, it should be done with full parental supervision by a trained professional. Kind of cool, huh? So what this does is it burns out the grooves. It actually puts the black paint down in there and burns the paint into the wood. So it gives you nice shadow lines in between each one of the stripes. So now I'm going to let this set for a little while, let the paint dry, let everything harden up, and they'll come back in, sand off everything, come back with my red, white, and blue. So here I am a little bit later. We're going to start sanding this down so we can start doing the final product. Now, one of the reasons I don't do such a heavy char on the Union is because it is such a dark blue that it doesn't need the extra darkness. You really don't even see it anyway. All right, now off to paint. All right, so when I paint, I basically just take a cardboard box, plug up any seams, and what I do is I'll line down in those big deep grooves that I made earlier, wedge in the cardboard to fill in those grooves. It's okay if a little bit of paint gets down in there because the black's going to be the predominant color. And lightly just spray in your grooves. Flip this over to the other side. Go ahead and get the sides too while you're in there. I did get a little overspray that went up onto the next stripe over, and since that stripe is not a red stripe, it is a white stripe. You need to fix it. It's simple enough to do. Just get out your grinder a little bit, a little touch up there. Make that dry just a smidge quicker. And then torch that again. Now that I'm done painting the union, remember earlier in the video, we followed the pattern of white, red, white, red. So it starts with a white one. So what I got right here is the white one coming off of the union. And then this little tunnel here will be, it's kind of dark in there, but this little tunnel here will be what ends up getting painted red. And all I did there was just bend the cardboard around. So that is just a matter of, again, make sure it stays down in there. Doesn't hurt to get a good healthy coat in there. Up and over, skip one. And wedge your cardboard back down in. And one more little time here. And we'd always go back and touch it up, put a little more black in there, whatever we need to do. That side is done. And then on the sample flag, it started out red, white, red, white. So on this side, it's just a wash, rinse, repeat. This one's going to be a little trickier. Let me see if I can find another piece of cardboard here. All right, so I grabbed another piece of cardboard just because I didn't have a piece long enough to begin with. And again, the same technique as we did on the other. Creates a neat little rustic burn in there. You let that dry because there's one little spot over here I need to hit, then we'll just about be finished. So now that the front side is dry, I'm going to sand down the back side, make it look good. So light sanding, just get off all the excess paint drips and whatnot that happen to go on the back. And then I'm going to torch the back of this too. I'm going to get real heavy on the edges. That hides a whole lot of imperfections that may have came through the painting process. Typically, I'll hit a knot really well just to get that sap pumped through. Now, this torch does take a little longer than, say, like an acetylene torch or a real true blowtorch. I have both of those. This just seems to give me a lot more control over the amount of char that I put on the back of, or put on any type of McCarvey's that I do. And it doesn't help that it's 40 degrees inside of my barn right now, so the wood's a little bit cold. So there it is. Pretty good representation of a draped flag made out of a 2x12. As far as the stars on the Union, at this point, there's a couple different options that a lot of folks do. Some people paint these. I don't like to paint them. I will actually go through with a stencil. I'll put the stencil on, draw them out with a pencil, stencil with a pencil, and use my Dremel and actually carve into stars. I'll show that on another video. Some people will leave it just like this. Some people will put a clear coat on it. At this point, you've got the basics, and then however you want to finish it is up to you. I will be putting top coat on here. That's good for indoor, outdoor use because I have had some people hang these on the exterior of their buildings. I'll show how to stencil in another video. So I hope this helped you out. If you like this kind of content, like, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And keep being patriotic. Have a great day.